in the building, I have Miss T. Marie in the building. Say what's up, T.
What's up?
And I have my man Sean Mucker. He's in the building as well.
What's going on? I know they can't hear
What's going on,
you.
people?
Technology boy.
Yeah, we're waiting on technology to start rolling, but we should be live at any moment. What are we doing to now? Hold on, let me get back to this Zoom. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
I can.
Here we go. All right. We're bringing you a special edition today of Urban Voices Radio. Today we are live on Zoom, and we have Mr. Charles Booker, who is currently a House rep, but is running for U.S. Senate in the state of Kentucky. Now, what makes this election really special is that Charles Booker is running to unseat the incumbent, Mr. Mitch McConnell. How you doing, Mr. Booker?
I'm doing well. It's good to be with y'all.
It's good, man. We're glad we got you in here today. Let me start off by introducing Charles Booker to those who may not know who Mr. Booker is. Charles Booker currently is a House representative from the state of Kentucky. I believe he represents the 43rd district. And what makes Mr. Booker so unique, so special, is that and correct me if I'm wrong, at 35 years old, Charles Booker is the youngest black lawmaker in the state of Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm the youngest black state legislator, actually, since the very first one. And his name was Charles, too. So there's something special about that.
Hey, something wrong with your volume.
Yeah, we lost you.
We lost Brad. Something wrong with his volume. Hold on. I'm going to get him back right quick.
Okay.
All right, sorry for the delay. It's something wrong. But the question he had was, one of the questions we had for you was about the protest and how you feel about the protest and what direction do you want to see us go with that?
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be able to get him hooked back up. But yeah, in terms of the protest, man, what I've been telling folks all over the country is that we're seeing a community grieve and mourn in real time. You know, folks are taking it to the streets because we feel like nobody's listening to us any other way. And if we stay home, they're gonna kick our door in and kill us. And so, you know, what I've been part of protests. Y'all know that, like we've seen the tear gas, we've seen, you know, the law enforcement treat us like they're at war with us. You know, what happened to Mr. McAtee. And, you know, as hurt as I am, I think we have a sense of resolve that's growing. You know, people are still in the streets, like right now, in the streets, because not only do we want justice for Breonna Taylor and the barbecue man, but we know that things got to change in the big picture.
This Zoom is acting up. All right, I'm gonna join Sean over here, man. Something's going on with this Zoom. I don't know what it is, but we're back. All right, so Mr. Booker, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, so we're here. So you are the youngest black lawmaker in the state of Kentucky. Also, you're a progressive, and this is kind of my pet peeve recently. A lot of people, well, when it comes to our people, a lot of people know politicians by their face and by their name, and they kind of identify with their personality, but they don't actually know their politics or their policy. So right. You're progressive, which you stand for the Green New Deal. You stand for bail reform, and you stand for a $15 minimum wage.
Yeah, that's the floor. 15 ain't even enough. And yeah.
So as a progressive coming out of a state like Kentucky that one can argue is a pretty conservative state once you're outside of Louisville and Lexington, do you feel like the progressive movement is something that can spread throughout the state of Kentucky?
It already is, man. And, you know, Kentucky is seen as a conservative state. We call it a red state. We really haven't tried anything different. Like, we've just conceded the narrative. I mean, when you like peel the politics back and talk about the struggle, talk about poverty, like, that's not partisan. People are struggling to keep their lights on, rationing their insulin like I've had to do. That ain't partisan. And when you say, okay, you should have quality health care no matter what you look like or where you from, so that if you need insulin like I do, you won't die because you can't afford it. And like, when you like cut through the politics and just speak the truth, you'll see that we're all actually fighting for a lot of the same things. And so my platform is not like some outside consultants or a fad. I'm listening to the people on the streets, what we've been marching for, demanding for. We want justice, we want healing, we want to be treated like our lives matter. And that's why I'm going to win this race, because Kentuckians are demanding this, man.
Okay, so when you travel throughout the state of Kentucky, in some of these red areas that are primarily conservative, and you're bringing a message of change.
Yeah.
Do you now you yourself, you come from West Louisville.
Yeah.
And I recently heard that I believe you've lost 4 cousins to gun violence in West Louisville, and you've had some financial struggles as well. As far as you said, you struggled for. Are you diabetic?
Yeah, I'm a type 1. Yeah.
So you struggled to even get your own insulin. So I know healthcare and economics is a big thing for you.
Yeah.
The more we seem distant, it often seems like the more we're the same. Because when you look at some rural areas of Kentucky, they're struggling with the same issues. However, they've historically voted red.
Yeah.
Do you feel as though someone like yourself with the same struggle that people have in Western Kentucky and the Appalachian region? Do you feel that they're resonating with your message?
Yeah, they are, man. And I've sat down with folks that voted for Trump. They were like, I'm voting for you, Charles. And, one of the powerful things in what you just said is, we're in silos, so a lot of it seems like we're divided, like we don't have things in common. And our leaders perpetuate that. But the truth is, like, the West End has much more in common with Appalachia than it does the rest of Louisville, to be honest with you. And like, when you have somebody that can speak to that and cut through the noise, folks start to get it, and a lot of the reason it's been perpetuated is, like, if you're in East Kentucky, Western Kentucky, you don't know about the hood, you don't know about the West End. And all they hear is, Louisville's this big city, they got all the money and stuff. And we in the West, like, nobody gives a damn about us. Like, we broke down here, we don't have no jobs, unemployment's been high. And so just going out into other parts of Kentucky and sitting down with them and showing them love and saying, now here's the truth. We've been able to build a big coalition really fast because, like you said, they fighting for the same thing. Now we got to get to the issue of structural racism and help people see how this stuff happens and how it's perpetuated. But Kentucky's ready for that. As you can see, they marching in Estill County, man. They marching in Letcher County. So they ready, and we just need a leader that can lead them. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, let's talk about a little policy. So Mitch McConnell, I believe, has been in the Senate since 1984. Yeah. That's the year you were born, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks after I was born, he was elected.
So Mitch McConnell's been in there for 35 years. Now, despite Mitch McConnell amassing enormous amounts of wealth and becoming part of the 1%, Kentucky remains to be one of the poorest states in the union. Right. Now, when I say poor, we can narrow down to the Black communities in most of these cities, as well as some of these Appalachian regions. Now, Mitch McConnell and other lawmakers haven't addressed economic disparities in these particular areas, like African American communities and in Appalachia, as far as coal miners or whatever. With you being elected, is it possible for you to bring economic development to these areas?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that is why I support Medicare for all. That's why I support a Green New Deal. It's also why I support universal basic income. And I see all of them as economic policies. Like, if you make sure people are healthy, they can advance their education because they're healthy enough to do it. They can be gainfully employed because they're healthy enough to do it, own a business, so on and so forth. And, a Green New Deal, let's take the title away because, people hear Green New Deal and get in their feelings. We're talking about dealing with environmental injustice and harm by creating sustainable economies. Like you mentioned, those coal miners, their jobs are gone. And there's nothing else left for them but dollar stores. And if you're from the West End, that sounds very familiar. How do we invest in creating new economic opportunity to where dollars can circulate in the local community. And, you know, when I talk about that, okay, I think I lost y'all.
Are you there?
I still hear you.
You hear
Yeah, I
me?
can hear you. You don't see me?
No.
I can still see you.
You can? Oh,
I can still see you and hear you.
Okay. All right, we got some alerts pop. This is not my laptop. All right.
Okay. That's all good.
Look,
we have the same issues here.
I'm proud of us as a collective right now, working it out. But to your answer, yeah, we need federal leadership to bring more dollars into urban and rural communities that have been underserved. One of the areas is solar. We can create a lot of jobs by expanding solar energy. We legalize cannabis. We can create a lot of jobs. One, we won't be criminalizing the plant anymore. And, you know, and then we have opportunities to invest in these areas like with broadband. Like everybody's at home, if you can be, because of this pandemic, but our internet's crap, which means if you're trying to start a business, if you're trying to advance your education, or trying to work from home, you can't do it. So the federal government has a responsibility in all of that stuff.
Okay. Now let me speak to my Charles Booker experience. I think the first time we met, it was a couple years ago, and we were out. We had an initiative in the community called Black Saturdays, where we highlighted Black businesses on Saturdays, and we would do a different business every Saturday. Mr. Booker, I think were you a city employee then?
I was working multiple jobs. One of them was with LIBA, Louisville Independent Business Alliance.
That's what it was. So you were with LIBA, and you came out to kind of check out the Black Saturdays movement, and you were interested in how you can bring that to a bigger level, bring it to a bigger demographic of people. And initially, ourselves, we're apprehensive of anyone coming in, because we're like, you know, sometimes politicians come in and it's about photo ops, it's not about the right thing. And when it all played out, I'm like, well, you know what? Charles Booker actually is a guy that's actually about the community, whether the camera's rolling or the camera isn't rolling. So when I saw you run for the House of Representatives and you won that, what made the progression to become a U.S. Senator a passion for you?
Yeah, I remember that first meeting too, you know, and the food was good, the seafood lady. You know, all of this is really about continuing to work. Like, how do we break down barriers to generational poverty? Like, how do we uplift people? I never thought I'd be in politics, man. I'm just trying to step up and do everything that I can. And I realized that with all of my experience, I have the opportunity to build unique relationships, to create change and to affect policy. And I'm just trying to cause some good trouble, man. And Mitch McConnell, the reason I decided to run for Senate is because in the state house, with all the stuff we were getting done, I got some bills passed in my first term, which you don't typically hear from with a lot of Democrats in a bipartisan way. I kept seeing how much Mitch McConnell blocks all our progress. And, you know, I'm like, okay, well, if he's the problem, then he got to go so we can do the work. And, you know, the rest has been history. We've been putting the work in, and now the whole country sees us, and we're going to win.
Okay, now I know you don't have much time, so before we leave, let me let you break down policy to the viewers, because a lot of people don't understand policy or know what policy is. So just briefly, what is the Green New Deal briefly? What is bail reform? And as far as the $15 minimum wage, what exactly is entailed in that, and how does it affect the people of the community?
First of all, I'm going to take a stab at being brief on this question. The Green New Deal, in short, is a way of putting regulations in place that prevent fossil fuel corporations, these big industries, from exploiting communities like ours in the West End, Appalachia, across Kentucky, and also setting standards and investing money into areas that are underserved so that they can build infrastructure, expand new industries, so we can modernize our vehicles so that they're putting out fewer emissions, so that we can create jobs that won't put toxic chemicals into the air like they get at Rubbertown, and so that we can mitigate a lot of the harm. So like we got brownfields, the ponds at Chickasaw are contaminated, don't fish there, don't eat the fish at least. And then, you know, we're dealing with lead in our paint still, all these issues. It's a heat island. All of this stuff affects our health. And by affecting our health, it affects our ability to make money. And by affecting our ability to make money, it's allowing us to stay in this place where poverty is pervasive. And so that's that. Minimum wage is really just a way of saying, how do we level the playing field? Profits are going up and up for the wealthiest few. We doing all the work, we not getting paid for it. Meanwhile, we struggling to keep the lights on. I mean, that's simple. You give more folks more money for what they do, what they deserve, what they're working for. They're going to put it back into the economy because they're going to support local business where they shop. That means more money can go into, city infrastructure, enforcing, the city services, state services we need, put them into community-based services. So that's that level of it. And criminal justice reform is really about saying, how do we stop the process of criminalizing poverty? People are in jail. My cousin was one of them, just because they don't have enough money in their pocket to defend themselves or to pay their bill to get out. Even if they're innocent, we know that doesn't mean that more people will actually flee. Like the notion of cash bail is to try to prevent people from leaving. Well, if you broke, you ain't going nowhere anyway. And if you broke, you stay in jail, you lose your job, you losing your livelihood. And if you innocent, how do you repair all of that? So this is really about justice for all Kentuckians. And like I said, my message is getting to the heart of issues. We're going to beat Mitch so we can do this work.
All right, one more tough question. Do you have a position on defunding the police? And before you answer that, I want to say, I've went through the past few days, I've tried to use my platform to educate people on, personally, I think it's a horrible name for branding, because when people hear defunding the police, they think you want to abolish the police department, period. Right. But do you have a position on defunding the police? And for those listening, can you explain what defunding the police means to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually been working to do that very thing with an organization called Cities United. And what you said is so true. It's branded poorly. What we should be saying is we want to fully fund public safety, because what we've been doing is putting a whole lot of money into our law enforcement, at the local, state level, and at the national level into our military. The budgets go up and up and up. You look at the percentage of our budget allocation as a city, law enforcement is the biggest proportion. But that doesn't...
I'm going to cut you off. I'm sorry, but let me make this point clear. Here in the city of Louisville, the law enforcement budget is more than the budget for every other services combined.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
And we're not safer as a result of it. So what the whole conversation is really about, how do we reallocate our resources to make sure people are safe? That doesn't mean that there is no law enforcement that you can call when somebody's kicking your door in or someone's hurting you or if you're stranded. That means that we don't simply have police coming to deal with mental health issues. That means that we don't have police handling issues in our schools. That means we're better allocating our tax dollars so that we stay safe. And we need people in law enforcement to work with us to make sure that happens. I saw a picture of a police car that was a Lamborghini. Come on, man. Come on, dude. Right. So that's what that conversation is about, big picture. And it's time that we do it.
Okay, we're gonna leave with this one. I've been getting a lot of texts from people saying that I guess on their absentee ballots that your name is not on the ballot. So I don't know if you're aware of that, or if there's any advice you have for people that are experiencing that problem.
Yeah, I've heard that. Let's tell everybody, I'm not Cory Booker. So I think we might be related, but I'm not Cory Booker. And I am not running for re-election to the state house. I think everything's been moving, and with this pandemic, there's been a lot of confusion on what's actually happening with Election Day. But if you have any questions, please hit me up. You can go to, they can send screenshots. They can send me a DM on social media, booker4kentucky.com. We will help you figure out what you need. I know this is confusing right now with the absentee process being new and everything. But I am on everybody's ballot for U.S. Senate. Look for Charles Booker and bubble it in.
All right, Mr. Booker, we appreciate you coming in and joining us today. Congratulations on, before you leave, congratulations on the Bernie Sanders endorsement. I saw that.
I appreciate that, man. We coming. Herald Leader, Courier Journal. We in here. We got some more news coming today too. So we got something going. So the Courier Journal has officially endorsed you as well? Yeah. The two biggest newspapers in the state. First time a Black person for statewide office has done that. So
congratulations, my friend. Good luck, man. Keep putting in the work, and we hope to see you in November.
Oh yeah, we coming. We will. We'll do it in person this time.
All right. I look forward to it, my man. Thanks.
Much love.
All right.